Okay, let's get started, minasan. All right. So, okay, let me give a brief intro about the program, and after that, we will get started to the panel talk. All right, everyone, welcome for joining us today. Today, I'm really excited to welcome you to the How to Start and Launch a Global Startup from Day One event. My name is Erdinc. I have the honor of being Manager Director of Founders in Japan, Korea, and most recently, is it okay? Taiwan. All right, most recently Taiwan. So let's have a look at today's agenda today really quick. So, okay, so we're gonna have a quick introduction about what FI is, what is the program is all about, and we're gonna introduce the local leaders and then graduate our panel speakers today. After that, I'm gonna give a very quick a research report regarding about Japanese startup ecosystem and why there is not that much unicorn companies here coming up and so on. Then we're gonna dive into the panel talk. All right, let's get started. So here's a quick intro. So what is FI first? So Founder Institute is the world's largest early stage ecosystem builder with its startup accelerator predominantly focused on early stage, pre-seed stage, with over 7,400 companies, startup company across the 200 cities and 100 countries in the world, and raised over $2 billion, and largest mentor network in the world with over 35,000 mentors and thousands of partnerships across the world. So we're born in the Silicon Valley. We are in 100 countries right now. And actually, it's not just about the startup program. It's also about, it's not only for accelerator program for a startup, but it's also about raising venture capitalists to launch funds also. So for aspiring venture capitalists. So we are in the both side of the table. So VC Lab is a virtual program that helps new managers to launch accelerators, pre-seed, seed, or Series A venture capital firms globally, as it's the sister company of the Founder Institute. And we have a network of 4,000 networks worldwide, and have VC Lab accelerator capitalists launch fund in 479 VC funds last 3 years, and raised $1.5 billion. It's a big business, guys, with a total AUM of 5 billion AUM. And since the inception only just 3 years. So as I mentioned before, we are we are in the ecosystem building business. So FI's mission is to empower talented, motivated people to build businesses, no matter their location is, no matter their gender or identity or their age, no matter what. So we're pretty much inclusive program, and so you can imagine some countries requires more work than others. So that's why we're focusing on ecosystem building activities in collaboration with the locals. Also, so we build startups. We have built ecosystems and partnerships. Also, we built venture capital firms in these locations. So it's also a bit of a bottom-up mentality. You need more startups first, and after that, all the ecosystem support things comes up. So as I mentioned before, ecosystem activities, how we do support these ecosystems, actually, how we position ourselves. We're generally supporter of other programs and companies and accelerator programs and venture capitalists. So we position pretty much earlier stage than that, but it doesn't mean that joining programs are easy. There is still an admission process pretty tight, but relatively it's more inclusive than other programs and much more global and much more democratic. So here are some of our portfolio companies. Udemy is the one of the most well-known here, which had an IPO in $420 million. Since the most popular one, I guess, in Japan, so I wanted to shout out here. I hope we can create great success stories also in here as well. So some of the our portfolio has the privilege of getting investment from some of the world's most influential venture capitalists and investors around the world. You might notice some of the names perhaps on the stage. And also, I can't just fit up all the names and logos here. It's just not enough space, right? So what FI does in these regions with the leader program in Japan, we started in Japan just two and a half years ago. And we quickly expanded the Korea and Taiwan programs also. We overseen. So which we have launched like 44 startups in total in a very quick period of time. So here are some of the portfolio proud mentors that we feature here, some of the most active ones. We have more than 150 mentors in this region. So we put here most of the Japan focused versions, but we have much more than that. Some of them, what is the most common feature here is actually all our mentors are active ecosystem supporters. They're angel investors, or they all have company building experiences and so on. So considering that one of the most active investor category is an angel investor, we also have one of the largest private angel club, in a sense also. So we are also open to get more mentorship inquiries. We're open to expand on the mentors as well. If you think that you're qualified for this, we can have a discussion, right? Mentors are compensated, so we have kind of a symbiotic relationship. They invest, we compensate them, and so on and so forth. So we can consider, please come and talk with us. Without partnerships, wouldn't be possible, and proudly, CIC and the Venture Cafe and many others are supporting us. Thank you for all the support. How they support us, like venue, drinks and stuff, right? Not just that, their advocacy of the entrepreneurship is the biggest support, actually. All right, speaking of partnerships, F5 works with a partnership model to operate the programs. Behind of these programs, there is actually in this region a small company behind, which is my own company, Open4Co. I think it's deserved a shout out here, very quick. Okay, so what is Open4Co is the global global traction accelerator. We keep iterating the definition. Originated hardware Silicon Valley, combined with an online platform and marketplace for learning, building, launching, monetizing, and growing partner ecosystems and collaborative communities around you for achieving effective marketing, sales, and community building, go-to-market, and fundraising, many more. For basically, we help you to build more traction. It's a guaranteed traction. If you join us, you will get guaranteed traction, all right? So recently, we have a new endeavor going on, which is coming soon. We launched a website, but it's not fully advertised yet. We can't. Which is I'm inspired to launch a fund, a VC firm, technically, not a fund yet. So it's going to be like first an institutional leading syndicator that supports startups in this region to go global. It's based in San Francisco also. All right, let me wrap up because no time. So you and I are the local leaders and directors on this region. So Yuli has a baby right now. So I guess, do you want to say a word, like introducing yourself? All right. So what we are also proudly an entrepreneurs who run these programs, has very much experience it, but we are not the one who run the programs. We bring together all the mentors. We are kind of like orchestrating everything here, right? Right, with that being said, so what I'm doing is here, I am proudly a founder and advisor to corporates, governments, and startups ranging from scale-ups to early stage startups. I've been in the business around like 12 years. So as I mentioned, aspiring to launch a VC firm as well. I'm working on it. So even though it seems like a lot of doing things, actually all boils down to supporting startups. All right, with that said, all right, Yuli is also our partner, and okay, you can also see from the screen. From now on, we will be introducing our panelists, and then after that, I will share a very quick briefing about the research result, very interesting, to set up the tone about the panel, and we are very much looking forward to getting questions from the audience. We're going to talk about entrepreneurship, very exciting. We're going to make the entrepreneurship big again in Japan, right? So with that being said, with a round of applause, let's open the panel, and then first panel is going to be Karim, all right? All right, could you introduce yourself?
Hello. Hello, my name is Karim Honen. I'm the founder of Tlalok Blue. With Tlalok Blue, we're basically innovating the field of vertical farms and bio-waste management. We're converting bio-waste into value-added products, most importantly, animal protein to be used in the production of animal feed. We help companies also manage their carbon emissions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Karim. So sometimes startups with very extremely technical backgrounds, with the PhDs and things like that, come to join us. One of our strengths at the Founder Institute is actually the business accelerator, and so happy to build, validate, and traction, and get funding, and so on. And it's a great example, Karam. All right, let's go to the next one. Christian, all right? Christian, stage is yours.
Hello, everybody. I'm Christian Cruz. I'm the founder and CEO of Unique. So, what we do is we consolidate the three fundamental verticals in the fashion industry. So, we offer supply chain services, brand services, and also customer facing services. So, we have consumer channels, supply chain, and brand to one cohesive system. So, we reduce the complexity, time to market, and overall operational costs for fashion businesses of any scale. I'm really happy to be here. I'm originally from Mexico, but thanks to Founder Institute and other programs, I'm happy to be here in Japan entering market. So it's an honor for me to be here.
Thank you so much. It's an honor for us to having you guys here. All right? So Tanya, stage is yours.
Hi, good evening. I'm Tanya. I'm a third generation educator and I've been in the education space for the past 12 years. I'm really excited to bring my startup to Japan now, which is working on solving the unaffordability gap between high quality education and what's accessible today. So we're looking forward to speaking with you all. Thank you.
Bravo. All right. Thank you so much, Tanya. All right, Eri, stage is yours.
Hi, I'm Ari. I'm the founder of MenuX. MenuX is a digital menu app for sports and events. So I'm solving an issue specifically in Japan where people in Japan love to wait in line to buy merch. So I'm reducing that by being able to purchase merchandise from their seats and taking that data and providing it to the stadium so they can then use that data to enhance their sales, increase their sponsorship, and increase revenue. So I'm really excited to share insights here today.
Thank you so much. All right. Tomo, stage yours.
Good evening. My name is Tomo from Digiro. I'm originally from Japan, and I'm doing the software development over 20 years. And we are developing software for dentists to help get repeat customers by sending a personalized notification. So thank you.
Thank you so much for entire panelists to join us today and introduce yourself. So a couple of final announcements. After that, we will dive into the panel, all right? So, and big announcement, drum roll, please. Drum roll. Okay. So, yeah. So, nothing surprise. The new cohort is actively recruiting. So please apply. All right. That's the message. So if you're from Japan, Korea, Taiwan, doesn't matter that you're Japanese, Taiwanese, or Korean. Pretty much international cohort. So we're operating like a very much a single international cohort that is just like in the border of these countries, getting all the resources and insights on this, utilizing these countries like incubators to go global, born global, go global. So anyway, so the program days are November 18. Please take a note. The early deadline is October 6. So please hurry up. Just apply. Don't think too much. All right. So another announcement is the applications for the Open Focus Bootcamp, which is the traction accelerator I was mentioning. It's a very short 4 modules program that is only focused on one thing: help you to build traction. How we do that is, and there is no magic, right? So we have, partnerships and collaborations is the secret sauce actually. We have the system and everything, tools, everything that can be built traction, and it's guaranteed that you're gonna build some partnerships. All right, it's considered as a traction, so you can go to your investor, show that I'm not a sleepy company, so please invest me, right? All right. Let me find my notes just a second. Okay. All right. So I have got a research report that is going to be set the stage for the discussion from now on. And about the Japan startup ecosystem, it's packed with a ton of data and insights that really eye-opening. I will make it very quick. I know the research kind of can be boring, but it's very useful. All right, let's see. Let's see the severity of the startup ecosystem of Japan. So the report was put together with the Tokyo Government Learning Center in collaboration with the World Bank and the Cabinet. And then shout out to the Kelly from the LinkedIn. If you follow me, very much an influential guy. Has also joined us as a mentor as well before. From the Coca-Cola, that he's the data scientist there. So usually we hear things like Japan's risk averse, right? And obsessed with the perfection or slow decision making, things like that, right? But this report offers a fresh perspective and connects the dots the way we might not be expect actually. But let's have it, share some of them. All right. Okay, let's have a look. The report shows that the Japan's R&D expenditure per GDP is 0.03%, which is the top fourth globally, actually. Interesting. So, but VC investments per GDP is just 0.001%. Globally, top 12 rank, which is the extremely low actually in compared to the GDP expenditures. So what does it mean is Japan is really good at creating science and technology, as we probably all know, but not as good at commercializing these technologies that are creating great companies out of that, right? Commercializing them. So the science and technology is represent the number of patents applied, obviously, the numbers of authors and scientific publications, but VC investments represent the capital invested into the VCs. So Japan's science and technology is still one of the best in the world. However, we cannot allocate enough venture capital to science and to commercialize them, unfortunately, to create more startups that will be more productive economies, right? And then we create a competitive edge to these companies, this research to go global. So you can also take a screenshot, or also we can share the recordings later if you connect with us. Another insight from here is like, as we all know, that Japan is creating very few unicorns, unfortunately, which is exact number is quite unknown. It depends on the research changes. Could you guess like how many unicorns in Japan? If you would, how many? Is it written there? Okay, sorry, it's in my note. But if some resources shows like 6, some resources shows 15. If you could ask me in Korea, for example, I would just directly say so a pig 23. There are 23 unicorns there. But if you say to my own country, Turkey, we even have a decacorn, which is over $10 billion value. So the entire company value. So, but in Japan, it's kind of like blurry. I don't know the reason. But you should dig in a little more. But anyway, in compared to all the developed countries, even though Japan is number third in the Forbes Global 2000 list, it's still very much low, honestly. Let's have a look. So let's say if Japan could allocate the invest on the startup creation as other nations based on the GDP, Japan would have created 190 unicorns. 190 unicorns. Just please wake up, guys. This is serious. Just think about it for a second. 190 unicorns. If you would think that, like, let's make a thought experiment. Let's assume that each company $1 billion averaging, more than would be $1 billion, right, of them. It will be almost a $250 billion economic output. It will be changing the entire country's trajectory. Last but not least, I would like to mention no startup creation in Japan is a number of the startup creation in Japan. Tokyo startup creation is big, but very small in terms of the global. San Francisco obviously creating the 20 times more startups, even though Tokyo, Bay Area is much bigger, like 15 times smaller than Tokyo in terms of population wise. And then even Singapore is creating more startups than the Tokyo 8 times. So it gives a goosebumps, guys. Like there is a very missing opportunity here. And then when we go and talk with the officials and things like that, they're calling us, you are a pre-seed startup accelerator. Really? Think about it. The things that we are doing is creates trillions of dollar value, potentially, right? So, all right, with that being said, with this emotional statement, let's open the panel. And then I would like to hear fresh insights from these startups. And then you all, audience, please join the conversation. We're talking about serious business here, okay? Okay, the first question to our audience. Are you guys ready? It's going to be tough. All right. How did you come up with the current startup idea that you have recently launched the connected with your own background, spotting the problem space that you are focusing on? So why I'm asking this question is, unfortunately, most startups are unfortunately cannot state that the problem state that they have matched with their own background and then their field of expertise. I want to start with like a rolling start. You guys already know the questions. Let's start with from this order. Christian. Okay, let's start from you. How did you come up with that idea? What was like problem statement you see? Really quick.
So for me, I actually don't have a background in fashion formally. I was studying applied physics at the time in New York City, but I was always really passionate about fashion, and I just kind of did a variety of different research in my time at the university. So one thing that I noticed was lacking was sustainable and effective technological efforts in regards to the supply chain in fashion, and also ease of access to global brands. So as a consumer, I was often frustrated. I wanted to find new brands, especially to support like smaller stage brands, right? I was tired of buying from big corporations. So I found that there was sort of lacking in the market for a consolidated fashion system that can pretty much provide all the B2B systems efforts, and also as a consumer make it easy for me to discover. So it kind of just developed from there, especially New York City being a huge fashion capital in the world. So kind of everything just fell into place for me personally.
Interesting. You have the background in the applied physics and started a fashion company. So I believe your expertise and your understanding on the physics will be very much valuable, right? So you really, seriously, could be these cross the topics. It could be could add value. There are some problem statements that you're seeing probably. Anyways, let's move it. And Tanya, so how did you come up with the current idea? What was the problem that you noticed? That how did you start this?
So I think for me, like I mentioned earlier, education has been in my DNA. My grandmother started a school 50 years ago in a very small town in India. My mother looks after it today. So I think for me, ingrained was the blood and soul and the sweat of education. I don't know anything else. I've only done all that all my life as well. When I came to Japan 3 years ago, I knew that the Japanese education system is not the same as what it is in India, even though we crib about the Indian education system a lot. But when I started getting to know it even more, and as a soon-to-be mother, and when I was planning my family, I realized that I don't really have a school that I would put my money on. And the kind of money that some of the schools are asking, I don't have the money to put. So what do I really do about that? And is there a way for me to solve that? The route that we're currently taking is a little bit different, but ultimately we plan to have an affordable international school for younger kids, because that's really where the problem is the maximum. For parents like us, it's very difficult to try and see how to be a full-time mom and a full-time job. So trying to balance both for other people, first for myself and then for other people.
Awesome, awesome. So you find a great match between your own background in education and then your own need, perfect matching. So then you start this startup company. You also have great traction. We also know, and most of you have, right? So that's interesting. Thank you so much for
Thank
doing
you.
that. All right, Eri.
So I actually originally started my business in food, which is why it's MenuX. I came from F&B tech. So back when there was COVID in US, very early on, people started using QR code menus, and they weren't doing that in Japan. So I just wanted to bring it into Japan. So, but by the time I had incorporated, large companies had already come in and started, you started seeing it more often. So very quickly I realized that it was a tough market for me, especially as a woman in Japan. In food and tech, it's very difficult. So I pivoted into sports because I actually came back to Japan 5 years ago to work in the Olympic industry for Tokyo 2020. So I utilized my, my backgrounds in sports marketing and wanted to solve a problem of seeing these long wait times, long lines when people buy merchandise at events and sports. And so I'm working to solve that issue for fans, and then also taking that data and using data to actually enhance sales, which Japan still currently does not do.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Yuri. Similarly, we've seen that person-owned stories, person-owned expertise matching with the one problem space that you're seeing, noticing in the industry, in the real life. You're applying this and then creating a great business out of them. For example. Thank you so much, Yuri. All right, Kieran.
Thank you, Erdinc. So my background is in environmental sciences and biological sciences. I was working in a biotech and biochemistry lab for a while. And we were working on a project about cancer with my friend here. And so the idea was to look at cancerous tissue using different tools. So having a very broad look at how cancer actually develops. And at the same time, I was also working on bio-waste management projects outside the lab. So the idea came up the idea came from that, in the sense that if you look at how an ecosystem functions, if you look at it systemically as a whole, just like you would study an organism, you would be able to take control of the biological processes. So an ecosystem meaning different species that interact together. So now we're trying to apply the same logic in a very specific applications for bio-waste management. So that's how the idea came to me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Karim. So let's move forward with the Tomo. The same question goes to you too. So, how did you come up with the idea? What was the problem?
Yeah, I'm a software developer by myself, so I came to this program with my own product. And after that, I tried to find a customer. And my initial idea is to provide the software to the restaurant, but I switched to the target customer to the dentist after I joined the Founder Institute. That's because there's so many dentists in Japan, and 70% of them still use the postcard and not the digital channel to communicate with the patient. So by digitalizing the communication channel, I thought I can contribute to the not only the dentist but also the patient, so I can make more impact on the like people's health. That's why I choose the target to the dentist.
You know, I just realized that there are very few platforms that gives the microphone to entrepreneurs. Listen to how they come up with the ideas in Japan. So it's very interesting to hear these insights from you as well. So I'm curious, like before starting or joining our program, what was like challenge that you guys faced before the program? And let's make it like kind of game. Could you give us like a one short sentence? That was my problem. Number one, number two, maybe three. So we can just see the pattern here. I mean, of course, in Japan context, you could also give a little bit international angle. So as a foreigner, what was the challenge for you and things like that. Let's start with on the same order. Let's make it like a rapid fire. Then, because I have a really interesting question for you next coming up. Question?
I think for us, we were always global minded and wanted to go global, but breaking into the Japanese market was always very difficult for us.
Breaking into the Japanese market, difficult. Right.
I think same. Just to understand the Japanese market, get around the regulations, get around the various ways in which it works, that was very difficult.
Complex.
I think an easier question to answer would be that what was working your way, because what was not working your way, because there's a shorter list there. This was a very long list of things to try and figure out before we joined the FI program.
Yeah, honestly, everything for me, I'm obviously a foreigner, so I mean, everything was a problem than any other countries because I'm pretty international, did travel and lived in some other countries, but yeah, it was a unique problem. But there are unique problems and solutions here. A quick quiz: how many entrepreneurs, because become more crowded here? Entrepreneurs, startup founders, want to be entrepreneurs, aspiring, 1, 2, 3, 2, 4. That's awesome. Okay, supporters to entrepreneurs. Anything, mentor, investor? Investor, we should get on. Okay, maybe, soon. Any investors? No? Hey, you guys? Okay, you hiding there, I know. Okay, so, interesting. Okay, let's continue with the, Eri.
For me, I think, for me, it might have been one of the big one was accountability. When you're starting your company and doing it on your own, it's actually getting out of corporate and then kind of left alone to like not have a manager tell you what to do anymore. It was a big gap and it was pretty tough for me to go through it. And I think finding a community where I could actually do it together, I thought was going to help me, which is just why I've joined.
Yeah, accountability is very interesting. So I just want to quickly connect to my experience. If Yuli does not exist, I wouldn't achieve anything because I pitch her idea. I mean, she makes me say, accountable in every way to make this happen. So FI also works in the same way. So we know where you're heading, we know your plans, and we keep you checking, and then we the sprints, we work together with you to make things happen. Karen?
For me, before joining the FI, the main issue I was struggling with is how to actually move from a project which I tested with a proof of concept into actually building a company. I mean, very technical thing, or having a roadmap, what are the things that one should consider on a step-by-step basis. And of course, this was all covered with FI.
All right, it's great. How about Tomo?
Yeah, in my case, I couldn't find enough customers to cover the expense of the
Making money.
running company. Yeah,
It worked, right? Of course. Yeah. So the thing is, we all are coming from very niche, specific businesses. Like one of the most asked questions to us actually, hey, I'm a, biotech or pharma company or very much high tech, deep tech company. What I'm gonna do here? I mean, everybody from other industries and stuff like that. We are really specializing on the business creation, the business building the business. So it's at the end of the day, even though you're sending, you're mining the moonshot project, it still produces something and then selling something. It's basic economics, basic business, right? So, but even itself, the business itself, this is also an expertise, and it requires not just the expertise, but the accountability partnership. It's very important. Thank you so much for that. And then from now on, you can be brutally honest with me. It's open stage for feedbacks, not to be to founders. So, what was the process? Like, did you have any challenges in this process to join in? What was your top process? Let's start from the top process. What was your idea to join in the applying and get into AFI? What was the initial thought there? Christian? Let's make it also like a rapid fire, because next one going to be feedback session.
So for me, I had just moved to Japan, and so I was looking for different business opportunities, different networking events, and that's when I met you here, right?
Oh, yeah,
And
of
so we had a really good chat, and so you invited me to apply, and it seemed like a great concept, like a great push for us, especially to navigate a whole new market, a whole new culture, a whole new language, and it's been phenomenal since then.
All right, great. How about that?
I think same again. Sorry that I'm copying all of Christian's answers, but sort of the same. I was pretty sure that I needed to do some sort of a program to understand a little bit more about the Japanese market, but I met you. I met you, Lee, and I was here at one of the events, and I met some of the mentors that day. And I think one thing that really stuck out to me was that Dr. Joe told me is that our industry is just so weird and so competitive and so lonely that the one thing you'll definitely get out of this program is an extended team and an extended family. And that actually holds true for all the people that are sitting here and you guys. And
Appreciate it.
I think that was the best thing from this program as well.
Amazing. Shout out to the Joe. Joe couldn't join us today, but he's a great educator. Amazing guy. All right, you ready?
For me, I actually spoke with a graduate, and he actually went through the course and told me about how it is. I think one of the big things that stood out was the support after graduating, which a lot of other accelerators don't have. And that was, I think, that really gave me the push to apply.
Thank you so much. Who was that person?
It was Anno-san.
Anna-san.
Yeah.
That's great. Also, introduce you to the guy. Tomoto as well. Yeah, Karen?
So for me, it was the reason why I felt I should join the program was again to find a way to organize my plan, like how to move from something that seems to be working technically to something that can actually generate money and build a company, and also most importantly to have the confidence of making those choices. So that was my thought process at the time.
That's awesome. All right. Tomo?
Yeah, in my case, I started my company business in Japan, and I always try to find opportunity to go outside of Japan and that's the reason for me.
Globalization also, right? So, by the way, quick break, ad break. No, not advertising. So, meanwhile, my preset questions are coming to end, but I want to prioritize you. If you have questions, please cook it, all right? Prepare. So one more, maybe two more questions I will be infusing here, asking. Then we will prioritize you, all right? You can come and then talk, ask questions, all right? Any questions, welcome. Got it? Think about it. All right, the next question, hardest one. All right, what was the most challenging thing during the program that you faced? Oh my God. That you face, and then what was the benefit that out of this challenge? Did you solve it or not? That kind of things. Okay, starting from you.
The well, the program is very intense because we have
my God.
weekly deliverables where you
Nobody
have to
gonna offline
actually execute upon certain requests. So for me personally, I'm technical, so I built my entire system bottom up. So I didn't have too much of a business background. A lot of the business expertise I had, I did it from my POC that I had done in New York. So I still had a lot of growth from a business perspective. And the reason Founder Institute really benefited my company is because it was so well structured and it allowed us to really develop really important aspects about the business. So it felt like a really effective crash course, like an MBA almost, where you can learn about sales funneling, investment strategies, fundraising, pretty much everything you need to go from zero to a solid company. Even if you already had an established product like we did, we already had some revenue, some POC, just having the structure set give us a good roadmap to really execute and grow everything. So I think it was really, really good to keep us pretty much on the direct path to success.
I see. So it was tough. The program is pretty tough, by the way. It's famous with it being very much tough because it's so much rush, honestly. Like weekly sprints, each sprint like in like 6 days it finished, including the weekends. It's so much rush, and there are many deliverables needs to be completed. Those are not like a homework and thing. Real job, like real things needs to be done. Go talk 100 customers, bring us the result, that sort of stuff. Like sign some LOIs and stuff like that. All right.
Yeah, I think just that the challenging part was that all the deliverables had some real life aspect to it. None of it was like read something and write a summary and something that would be easier. Most of us were solo founders as well, with a very small team or no team at all. So I think everything was on us getting the stuff done, and getting the stuff done while keeping your business to some extent still active. A lot of us were trying to figure out whether this is the right problem solution fit, whether this is the right market fit. And I think just doing both simultaneously was a big challenge. But what was the good part about it was, like Eri said, the accountability that it builds in you, it almost becomes a habit, because if you're doing something, you know the theory of 100 hours, right? So anything you're doing for 100 hours constantly and consistently becomes a habit. So I think for a number of us, it's now become a habit to stay accountable and to do multiple things together, which I credit to Founders Institute.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, Eri.
Yeah, I think I agree to both. I think the toughest thing was the deliverables and also just balancing, actually running your business and doing a program at the same time. It's different from school where, you're just learning. You're actually up and already running this business. For me, I had a POC right during the program. And so trying to prepare for a POC and actually doing the POC while having all these deliverables and getting constant emails from Yuli being like, you need to submit your work, do your homework. It was really tough.
All right, Karen.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything they said. But I will add that for me, really, really, the first month was very hard. I didn't think I will make it. The deliverables were really tough. And like Christian, I have no background in business. So all the notions, everything we were studying, or all the tasks that we had to do, all of this was very new to me. The great thing that came out of it is that I'm very confident with my revenue model now and the things that I need to do. So, and that's invaluable.
Great. Thank you so much, Karim. How about Tomo? We have questions, cooking, right? Coming up.
Yeah.
Hey, don't go.
Yeah, challenge for me is every day we need to pitch to the mentors. So that's the hardest part for me. So you need to explain about your business in very short time. Sometimes it's 1 minute, sometimes 3 minutes, 5 minutes, but you need to explain to the mentors. That
In a
was
very short
very
period of
difficult.
time,
Yeah.
1 minute. First 4 weeks of the program, you pitch like in 1 minute without slides. It's very challenging. What I add one something like most everybody always have their running business. It's also actually growing. The name itself like accelerator, right? So you have some progress, even though a little bit. By the way, even idea stage people can join the program. By the way, more on that later. You can check out our website. But I want to give a quick insight for my program that I joined, VC Lab for Lunch and VC Fund. At that time, my wife was pregnant and then delivered the process, and everything go to the different angle in my life. The business has some challenge, a really huge project that we have with the big government of another country, Korea. So, and then I realized I just can't do it. At the moment, I create empathy to the people who join our program cannot complete their deliverables. Now I got it. So no excuse. Like, it's really hard work in order to be graduate from the FI. Seriously. And I realized at the moment, am I going to give up or make this happen? So I didn't give up and I become the top 5% percentile in terms of fundraisers and the success ratio. Only 10% can graduate from the ABC lab. So I did it, even though it was so challenging. So no sleep, nothing. But we don't advocate, life balance is required for that, for sure. Anyways, so with that being said, I'm going to be a little bit wrap up and I have questions here. I will open the questions here and any questions welcome. Otherwise, one more question I have. Questions. Come on, guys. Especially entrepreneurs, you gotta ask questions, right? This is an opportunity to introduce yourself also, bro. You can also quick introduction yourself.
Yeah, hi. First of all, thank you very much for the introduction. My name is Rene. I'm currently a VC at Golden Egg Ventures, and it's really exciting to see more international entrepreneurs here in Japan. I have one question, and this is during this program. What was your biggest setback or the biggest challenge, and how did you solve it?
For a specific one, I will just pick two people.
Yeah, maybe Eric-san and Tarek.
Okay. Eric? Setback.
Hi Rene, nice to meet you. Well, for me, for the program, again, the first month was I didn't think I was going to make it. Pitching 1 minute was impossible. I couldn't get the message through. No one was getting what I was doing, and I was struggling in. I have a tendency, and I'm pretty sure I did this tonight too, of going into the technical things because that's where I'm comfortable, and unconsciously and pitching in 1 minute was, I really struggled with that. What I did is I hooked up with a couple of mentors. A great thing in the program, which I really liked, is the fact that there's a lot of mentors, there's office hours, and you really have access to them. And you just need to find a couple of mentors with whom you click. And that's what I did, and with one in particular. And just things started, I felt like I was no longer struggling alone in my corner in front of my computer. I had someone who was giving me positive reviews, helping me to improve, things as like, what do you dress, fix the lighting, like this sort of details. And slowly it got better and better. So that's it. Thank you.
All right, Eric?
I think, I've actually joined a couple different startup or accelerators before, or worked with, different Japanese startups. And I think one of the big challenges was in Japan, like culturally too, you're just kind of, you're taught to build this business plan where it's like, this is what you're gonna do, and this is the idea, and you have to do it exactly that way. And being around all these international startups, it completely breaks that idea from me of like, no, you have to be flexible, you have to be able to pivot, you have to be able to take in criticism and make it work for you. And I think that breaking that mindset was quite a challenge in the beginning. But I think it made sense to me, and working with different people, being able to actually talk to them, meet them in person, I think helped me get through that challenge.
Thanks for the question. Really appreciate it. One question coming here. Meanwhile, you guys also think about the next question. Nick,
Hi there. My name is Nick. I'm about to launch a AI product in Japan. But then thanks for sharing all the personal experiences. And now I know how big a problem I have trying to tackle the Japanese market. But then I, what I would really like to know is that at what point, we've heard about how you created sometimes from scratch and all that, you need to code yourselves and all that, creating a 0 to 1 product. At what point do you think about protecting what you created? Do you actually want to do patents and trademark? Do you even think about, is that even a question at this point? Because just to get the product to launch is such a tall task. Like, what's the thought process? And that's what I really want to know. Thanks.
it's a great question. All right. Any volunteers? Tanya first. Okay.
So I'll answer that because I'm actually facing that problem right now, that in the education world, there are very few people doing what I'm doing, but then the few people who are doing what I'm doing feel that it's a very competitive market. So the only way for me to protect myself is actually go that route. I think there are two journeys here, and this is what was told to me by a mentor as well, but this is what I also know from my perspective. One journey is when you create something absolutely unique and you know for sure that it's like an invention, you definitely go from it from day one, because that's your most important aspect. Regardless of whether or not you have customers, you're going to have some application of an invention. So when you have something like that, you go for it from day one. The other method is that when you realize that you may not have built it like that you may not have tried to invent something, but you've actually got something new and unique, and some people are being able to buy into it in a very big way. It all takes a lot of time and effort and money, right, to be able to get the patents and get that bit done. You could actually do it when you have enough customers who are telling you that you have a unique product. So you could choose whichever direction you suit.
Any other insight on protecting the idea? Maybe Karim?
Nick. So in my case, there's actually that was a big issue because we are eligible for a few patents, both in terms of software and also in terms of invention and in terms of process, biochemical processes. So I had a couple of meetings with one of the mentors who's a lawyer, copyright IP expert. And so my conclusion is that first, you need to apply for a few patents or copyrights, IPs. If you have the funds, you go for it. I don't have the funds at this stage. So I'm now focusing on one patent, which I will integrate into my traction and which I can license also. So which can also generate funds. And I'm including this in my use of proceeds for the fundraise. And in Japan, patents are quite expensive, up to 3 times more expensive than the US, for instance.
Interesting.
I might have something that you could find useful in your next patent. Let's talk about
Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate it. By the way, so the organizing partners, so the panel our program start 5 minutes late, so would like to continue more. Is that okay? I'm assuming that being quiet means an acceptance. All right, let's continue. All right, another question. Great question. All right.
Yeah, my question is simple. Up to how many investors did you guys pitch to, and how was that experience of getting the first round of funding in Japan? How was the experience? How was the process like? This question goes to anyone. Yeah, to anyone. I can repeat the question again and rephrase if you guys didn't understand. That's fine. Yeah.
So fundraising in Japan is such a great topic. I think we should create another panel for this, right? So for the person who make already fund, I think Karim, I think you guys question to you. So how was the process in Japan, the pitching to the Japanese investors and so on?
In my case, I've secured an angel investor. The process was very straightforward, but I think it was also unorthodox in the sense that I was introduced, so through acquaintances, and I got to spend a lot of time with him. So it was not like pitching and then that's it. We spent like hours talking and brainstorming, and he was picking my brains, everything. So in my case, that's how it happened. Now, pitching for a Japanese investor in I think like you have in mind, I've done that once with a representative of Mitsui Sumitomo Trust Bank. It was very nice. He was very respectful, very soft, like the way the Japanese would usually, it was not an aggressive exchange. So it was very, very pleasant, actually. But that's about it for me.
Any other insights regarding this? I also would like to share something very quick, by the way, on this. Is anyone? On the fundraising perspective. All right, so I have to mention that. So our programs has 3 tracks. One is validate track, another one a launch track, and the last one is a traction track. Obviously, the names are pretty self-descriptionary, right? So everyone who's joining here, all panelists or graduates are from the launch track. So you would guess like what was the process? It used to be maybe early version of the product, some early traction, then get into the launch and incorporate it and launch and growing, right? So I guess only you who already have an investment. Or do you guys already have any investment so far? External capital? You have? On the process, most of them are on the process. Another thing is like almost every session has average 3 mentors. Those mentors generally tends to be angel investors. It means you're guaranteed that you're gonna be pitching to the investors every week, all right? And then other than that, exposure to our community and so on. And we also, after graduate, we also have a funding specific program that will be pitching to the global investors and so on. A quick insight for me, we still have a couple of minutes because we start late because of the arrangement here. So fundraising in Japan is a bit complex than other countries. Many reasons, it's not an English speaking country, especially foreigners perspective I'm saying. Honestly, I didn't have any experience to launch a fundraiser for one company. It's a complete bootstrap because it was so challenging for me, even though we were ready to do that. And then luckily we were able to make revenue, so we didn't even need it. So, but as a result, we didn't realize the equity value of the company, right? And then it will become a slow growth, kind of mediocre growth. But after that, we realized that it will be possible from now on to go and do. So the pitching process is much different than the Silicon Valley. I'm comparing between there. You can go there, arrange meetings easily. You can apply straightforward process. But in Japan, it's complicated. Still relationship driven. Still, you need to call outreach and expect some result. For foreigner, getting a warm introduction is even challenging actually here. So we are all trying to figure out these kind of complexities. First off, investor's job is writing check to you. This is how they're making money, right? They should be able to get a meeting with you. So even this one is a challenge here. So we didn't need to talk about it and figure out these kind of things, right? So as a wrap-up question, I believe there are some questions, but how we can create more global startups here? How we can encourage entrepreneurship here? So I want to ask to the panel a couple of words as a wrap-up. Your advice, your point of view, how we can create more startups in Japan, especially connecting to the global from your perspective. What do you think? As a foreigner who's an entrepreneur here, Dozo.
From my experience, programs like this are extremely helpful. I've also done a different program that first brought me to Japan in Nagoya Aichi. So these programs are super helpful to introduce entrepreneurs to a foreign market landscape, introducing us to the culture, the language, a bit of everything. So I think from an international entrepreneur perspective, more programs like this are essential, especially FI, like you see how international this cohort was. I think all of us feel a lot more comfortable navigating the Japanese landscape. So without FI, for instance, we wouldn't have that same comfort zone.
Really appreciate your kind words.
I think it's about the whole ecosystem, right? Because a startup ecosystem will flourish when they have customers, if they have enough team to back their idea, if they have people like us coming out and supporting them. So I think my sort of plea and my request is to everybody that support more local businesses. We're living in a country where companies have been established for like decades and centuries and centenaries and this and that. So the more you support local businesses, the more you support startups, I think the more the startup culture will start to rise. And we're already doing step one of it, that we're all stepping out and we're meeting on weekdays and we're trying to talk about this world and we're trying to solve something for it. So that's step one. Step two will actually being able to push it in the right direction. If you see some great talent, push them towards a startup. It's not always the safety and security of a big established company that will be a good workplace for them. So all the different parts and pieces that go along with the startup ecosystem.
I think eventually entrepreneurship will be considered as a safe job opportunity here. And then even the salary people will be also choosing this pathway. It seems like that. A quick note, so we have some programs like in some of the countries that don't even have a stable electricity. So what we do there is, first thing first, create encouragement to the entrepreneurship. So they create a ton of ideas and businesses, and then governments support, corporations comes and funds, and so on. So one of the countries is Ghana, actually. So the local leader is doing a great job to bring in more international and encouraging startups to creating things. So that works very well. But obviously, I mean, look around you. This is a rich country, but still the entrepreneurship is, kind of lacking here, right? So why? So those are actually really much solvable here because we have enough resources, first of all, right? We have electricity. Luckily, it doesn't cut. And anyways, Eri?
For me, I think it's a little bit of a harder solution. It's going to take time, but I think the government really needs to step it up a little bit in terms of the process. They make it really difficult for foreigners, for females to do this. The system is not set up for us to do this easily. Now it's becoming trendy to use the word startup. So all these government people are saying it louder, and that might help move the system a little bit quicker, hopefully. But I think it's just right now, like you said, maybe salaryman might want to do this entrepreneurship, but a lot of big corporates don't allow double work, or you can launch a business without any capital, but banks will not lend you any money because of your low capital. The system just needs to step it up a little bit more.
Step by step, yeah. All right.
Yeah, I agree with Eri. I think it should be a top-down approach, especially for a country like Japan, which, with everything, actually, change doesn't come fast here. But once they kick-start it, they're on a path for the long term. And I think from what I've seen over the last couple of years, there's a lot of initiatives, regional or, with the metropolitan government of Tokyo or Hokkaido. There's a lot of initiatives, actually. Now, what would be very nice is to have some sort of collaboration between all these programs so that they communicate amongst each other, because often I notice I'll be talking, for example, about Tosbek. I'll be talking about this office in Tokyo, and the person I'm talking to would not even know that this office exists. So I think some kind of collaboration amongst all these initiatives is important.
A quick note, we never wait a country get ready to be going there and do a program. Just like I was giving a Ghana example, right? Another example, actually Germany, one of the most, is a foreign startup program, accelerated program, who survived the longest. Most of the big brand household names come and goes. Why it was successful? It's because it's like it's very much bootstrap and kind of like a cockroach. You can't kill. You can't because it doesn't require any funding, government, or any support. We can go to any country. It doesn't, as I mentioned, like don't have any electricity. We can still create entrepreneurship there and do many things actually. So I think this is the important thing. I know it's important for the top-down approach, but this can appear and be successful in any countries in the world. So, but if government, corporations, or every one of you support us, we can really create something big here. We can really change Japan's, we can make the entrepreneurship very cool and viable here. You know what you guys again also do at least? Please go to our LinkedIn profile. Just give a like. Really, this is the number one step, the minimum viable action you could do. You can support it. Give a repost and stuff like that. And then to us too, all the other stuff, go to their profile, follow them. You know, this is all stuff like no excuse, guys. We all come in here to think tank, right? Like almost 50 people right here, and half of it the network in there. So, this is something that we can start doing right now. So you all have the holding the world of information and social media all in your hands, right? Why not just go in and following and give an advocacy, supporting us? I'm seriously asking to you, just do it, really. So this is it will come back to you. So we see all the community who's supporting us. We're approaching to you. We are asking collaborations to you and so on. So it will be really appreciated if you could do support us like this way. Oh, Koji-san, how are you doing? Nice to see you. All right, all right, Tomo. Final words about how we can make the entrepreneurship cool again here.
Yeah, I'm kind of optimistic about it because I've been doing business over 10 years, almost 20 years in Japan, and I'm seeing very big change recent years. So I think it's a very good time for us to start a startup or build the ecosystem, because as other people say, the governments are very helpful. They give you support, and there's so many events like this in Tokyo especially. So the circumstances, it's changing right now.
All right, thank you so much. By the way, we're wrapping up right now. Another call to action, another support from you guys to join the next event. It's going to be on Zoom because I'm traveling constantly, actually. So this is going to be focusing on the traction truck funders. Recently, most of them traveling in other cities and countries as well. Please register. You can join, hop on the Zoom. Don't overthink, guys. Come on, just jump on the Zoom call and then talk with her, ask questions, anything. It's very convenient from your the comfort of your home on your couch. You can join and then have a nice discussion, a thoughtful, intelligent discussion, pretty rare. So you can do in the comfort of your home. So it's on the stage. You can scan the QR code. It's September 26, 6 p.m. JST, our local time. And see you there. All right, with that being said, thank you so much, everyone. It's been great. It was a great think tank. Let's give a round of applause to our panelists. Thank you so much. It was a privilege to working with you all. Thank you so much for joining us today. And then networking starts from now on. All right, thank you so much, everyone.